everyone, Lou here. You guys loved my Disturbing Vocaloid Iceberg so much that I thought it'd be fun to do another kind. This is the Vocaloid Trivia Iceberg. So this was made by Assa is the best spood on Reddit a while ago. I've seen a few different versions, but I liked this one the most. I think they might have updated theirs, but still, I like this one the most. I also have to warn that this video will have to be split into two parts like the previous one, because I am just one person making all these videos, so doing the entire thing myself would take way too long and become way too stressful to get this out on time. So, let's get started. Tuckoid/dramas. This is referring to when people make Vocaloids talk via messing with pitch bends and note lengths to create either funny dramas, as seen with Koshitsuki P with his heavy pervy based comedy, or modern ones like the ones made by Minemi. I do highly recommend The Adventures of Gakupo and Gachapoid in particular, because as a Gakupo fan, that one's fucking hilarious. Concerts. Pretty self-explanatory, but Vocaloid concerts. For those wondering how this works, or if you're not a Gorillaz or Squid Sisters fan, Vocaloid concerts will have the Vocaloid's vocal track play with a live band as they dance on a hologram screen. Though in the US, some downgrade their concerts to have what is basically a giant TV, because it was cheaper, I guess. People even do fan-made concerts using MMD, which we'll talk about in just a second. Currently, the only official Vocaloid concerts are from Krypton Feature Media, Internet Co., First Place, and V-Singer. There's the occasional concert for other Vocaloids too, like Voc America and stuff, but the ones I'm mentioning here are the ones that do frequent concerts instead of a one-time thing 10 years ago, you know? MMD, short for Miku Dance. A free 3D animation software developed by a single person for producers and artists to make music videos for Vocaloid songs. This has evolved far more than just music videos, as MMD is used to animate entire series for people, as seen with Ureshi's Project M series animated entirely in MMD, which is pretty impressive. Project Diva. A series of video games featuring Hatsune Miku and the other Krypton Vocaloids, created by Sega with Krypton Feature Media. Each Project Diva game is just a little different in terms of mechanics, and only Project Diva X has some kind of story to it, but it's just a rhythm game with various Vocaloid songs. However, no other Vocaloids are in Project Diva as a series due to rivalry with Krypton Feature Media with other companies, except for the singular time Gumi or Megpoid was in Project Diva on the 3DS, and never again, which is kind of a shame. I still hope that someone makes a mod for Project Diva Feature Tone to add Gumi songs from that game, because I really want it. Neru and Haku. Fan-made Vocaloids, this is a common thing called fanloids. There used to be a lot of them, but currently the only fan-made Vocaloids that still stand the test of time is Haku Yawane and Neru Akita. As these are just fan-made concepts of a Vocaloid, they have no official voice banks and are recreated using existing voice banks. Haku is often created pitching down, specifically her dark voice bank of Hatsune Miku in particular, which I prefer, while Neru is a bit trickier. Neru is often made either pitching Miku up, down, or pitching Rin down. Personally, I prefer pitching Rin down for Neru just because I like that it differentiates her from Haku, but that's just me. Often fans who don't like either idea will headcanon that Haku is so shy that she's non-verbal, like Komi from Komi Can't Communicate, and Neru has phone beeps because she prefers texting over speaking. There's been some discussions from Neru's creator though about giving her a voice bank via an Uttowo or something like that, so here's hoping she gets an official one in the future. World is Mine. A very famous Miku song made by Ryo or Supercell. It's been Miku's consistent hit for years and is often people's first introduction to Miku's voice when you dive into the weeb scene. The song is about a spoiled princess who has rules for her boyfriend or guy she likes to follow, but at the end is very tsundere about her feelings for him. It's a very sassy and cute song. I really recommend it if you've somehow never heard of it, despite its 69 million views on Google 888's re-upload. Mitchi M, a very well-known producer in the Vocaloid community, whose songs are in the style of modern pop idols today, with the occasional exploration of other genres like maybe rock or musical. The biggest distinction of Mitchi M is how he makes Miku sound extremely realistic, even all the way back to when Miku first released, when she sounded far more robotic and choppy compared to her Vocaloid 4 voice bank. I'd say her NT, but we'll get to that. Legit, many have tried, and only a few extremely talented individuals like Tuckoid and Suzy have managed that style of making a Vocaloid sound extremely human. Leak spin. So there's a few of these memes, but I think this is referring to the ancient meme that was later adopted by Hatsune Miku fans. The original clip is Orihime from Bleach spinning a leak. I don't watch Bleach, so that's as far as I know, where someone put a traditional Finnish polka song called Levan Polka over it. This already blew up even more when someone made a remix of Miku singing the song. Thus, videos were made of Miku cosplayers, artists, and more having Miku do the leak spin instead. For those wondering why leaks, the joke within the Japanese Vocaloid community was that Miku's hair looked like a leek or negi. Nowadays, American fans associate her with green onions instead because of how her pigtails are thin and because leaks are not so common in America. Fun fact, the Hatsune Miku Pulip doll comes with a pair of leeks. Here's mine with them, which mine was customized to be a Night Court at 2500 Miku. Sekai de Shite Yanto. This refers to this fucking abomination that was made as a fanloid or mascot version of Miku, made by the insane Ryusei or Puzzle 157XXX. It was common to come up with chibi mascot versions of Vocaloids, see Hatsune Miku or Taco Luca as examples. This dude made a cursed version that definitely screams cursed funny meme from the early 2000s in Japan. No lie, this thing is hilarious, if an abomination that belongs in a fiery pit. Fun fact, it's also a head accessory in Project Diva, so that's a thing. Project Mirai. This is the 3DS version of Project Diva that had two versions, a regular and a deluxe version, with Gumi starring as a special guest. It had some cute features too, like a room where chibi versions of the Vocaloids just hang out, and music videos so good that Krypton actually adopted them into Future Tone later. There was also a Project Mirai theme on the 3DS, which is a shame people can't obtain it anymore because it's a really cute one. I actually have it on my 3DS. I do wish that they kept the special guest aspect because I would have foamed at the mouth if Gakubo ever got into a Project Diva game, but alas, that's gonna have to stay in my dreams. NT. This refers to the highly controversial attempt made by Krypton Future Media at focusing on their own engine of PioPro and developing Miku's voice bank in-house instead of collaborating with Yamaha. This was largely because several major Vocaloid companies were distancing themselves from Yamaha due to the poor reception of Vocaloid 5 from all angles. However, the issue is that it's very evident that NT is just not it as a Miku voice bank in the 2020s compared to upgrades like Megpoid Synth V, Miku's biggest rival technically. The biggest issue is that NT Miku is extremely choppy, especially when songs require short consonants, while her vocal rendering in general is extremely choppy, low quality, and robotic, which some have said that Krypton wants to make a robotic approach to Miku, but the reality seems to be that NT was allegedly made with Miku's VTube recordings, which were all the way back in 2007, and tried to do a modern rendering process with an older recording list. Worst case scenario, Miku can sound like a literal trumpet, and best case, she sounds like an extremely low quality version of Miku V2, the first fucking Miku. Mind you, this is after massive updates that added a soft and dark voice bank. Don't get me started on those. Literally, Arsloid has better append voice banks. Mind you, that Arsloid only works in cross-synthesis only, which I'll talk about that later. Dodo. This refers to the fan-made design for VY2 by Ryugu Tsukasa. Because the voice banks VY1 and VY2 at the time didn't have any designs beyond a fan or hairpin and a sword, a fun fan contest was held to design characters based off of these voice banks. The winner was an artist named Tsukasa Ryugu, who ended up winning, where the art was revamped and featured in a magazine showcasing the winner. A few months later, Tsukasa would also feature the Roro design for VY2 in a cover of A Clingy Boy Sticking to Love for 15 Years. That one Vocaloid song that makes us all fucking sob in the last 60 seconds. I should warn that this is merely a fan design for VY2 and not the actual official design for him. He does have an official design due to receiving a speech voice bank with AI voice, and while it is clever to use the sword as a tie clip thingy, I'm gonna be honest that this design is boring as fuck, and I prefer the Roro design way more. Tsukasa has also asked that if you're doing anything with VY2 and use the Roro design, to please state that it's the Roro design and credit them. Something I only found out a bit ago because my Japanese is very minimal, so I didn't know about this statement. Tetto's status. I'm not 100% sure on the specifics of this because I don't know when this was made, but this might be referring to when the fact that Tetto finally became a commercial voice bank. Not quite a Vocaloid, but a synthesizer V voice bank, and has finally reached the popularity of her rivals Miku and Gumi. I say rivals because, I mean, these are businesses at the end of the day. Tetto was originally an April Fool's joke on either 4chan or 2chan? I want to say 2chan though. This part on What Message Board is a little messy because archives and language barriers just aren't my thing. At least for me. Remember, my Japanese is extremely basic and it's just me working on this, so unfortunately I don't have a translator on standby, and this is a big video, so I don't want to dive too much into the research of Tetto, though other people have made great videos talking about the history of her. Anyway, people love this design despite it being an April Fool's joke, where the designer then worked with a small team to make an Uttowo voice bank. Uttowo being a free vocal synthesizer that was an alternative to Vocaloid, before more options were made available later on. Tetto would practically become the mascot for Uttowo until she received a synthesizer V voice bank, making her an official commercial voice bank, where she's one of the most popular Uttowo voice banks for the engine. It's really an underdog story for Tetto, especially when a producer made a song about Tetto's character dreaming of becoming a commercial voice bank. Story of Evil. This refers to the Story of Evil mini-song series created by Moth EP that's part of a much larger story called the Evilius Chronicles, or Seven Deadly Sins Chronicles previously. The Story of Evil covered the sin of pride with Queen Rilliane Lucifin d'Autriche. His brother Alan is her servant, but she doesn't know because the lore is complicated. When an angry mob storms the palace from Rilliane's pride destroying her country, Alan pulls her aside and swaps places with her since they look identical to each other. Alan is then given the Marie Antoinette treatment and gets ahead of himself, while Rilliane is left alive to try and redeem herself. I'm just generalizing, the story is a lot more complicated than that, but I made a digestible explanation to the Story of Evil for anyone interested in it. It's part of a larger series I'm working on in explaining the Evilius Chronicles. Len Dies. The famous meme back in the day, but this is about how Len's character had a tendency to die a lot in Vocaloid songs in the 2010s. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it made for some great angst? I'm honestly not sure. From Servant of Evil by Mothi, The Immortal Memory by SCL Project, Sai by Iroha, Seasonal Feathers by Hitoshi Tsukupi, and The Seventh Bee by Mayuko. Though if you ask me, Hitoshi Tsukupi was the largest perpetrator of this, because let me tell you, his songs have Len die a lot. Even now Len dies in his songs. I counted about 10 songs in his library where Len has a character who dies or is heavily implied to die at the end of the series. Probably more if the endings weren't so ambiguous to a lot of his songs. It's a funny meme though. I wish some producers kept it up because I think it's a funny trope to do, like making Kaito an airhead or Gakupo the fucking weirdo. Lead Princess. I actually had no idea this was a series, but the full name is Lead Princess of the Color Stealing World by Nyan Nyan Nya. The story is about a girl named Ledia, get it? A doll made of lead who can't see in color, and due to being made of lead, she accidentally wishes to a demon to see a world of color. But being a demon, it twists this and removes all the color of her world. Lydia knows that she has to get it back, so the demon said he'll only give the color of the world back if she brings him the most precious thing, where she goes on a journey to another colorful country to find it. Meanwhile, she meets weirdos and learns what true happiness is, I guess, via the characters who have their own meanings for it. It's a pretty lengthy series. I don't want to dive into it here in full. Let me know if you guys want me to do that though. But this is where the song Dr. Funk Beat comes from, which was always my favorite song by Nya Nya Nya, which I had no idea all this was part of a song series all these years. Considering Dr. Funk Beat is one of my favorite Kaito songs, I really should listen to the other songs in this series to see if they slap just as hard. Taiwanese Designs. This is referring to the fact that Zero G and Power FX's Vocaloids got redesigns in Taiwan for some reason. I mean, there is a reason, and that is because, well, Sweet Anne's box art is fucking horrifying, and I believe that it was seen by Taiwanese distributors that Vocaloids maybe sell better if they have an anime-esque design as seen with other Vocaloids of the time. I mean, Sweet Anne's design is actually gorgeous to me, and I'm not gonna sit here and say these designs are bad, it's just that they don't fit. Like, Prima is a deep-voiced opera singer. Why does she look like a shy lolly? And then, like, Big Al is supposed to be Frankenstein Elvis, so why does he look like a rejected Grim Reaper OC for Black Butler? I kinda wish this continued to be a thing, though. I would have loved to have seen alternate designs for, like, Yamaha's Vocaloid 6 voice banks or something. Miku made Minecraft. This is a meme in which whenever something is made by a problematic person, they change it to Hatsune Miku made it. The big one for it started was Minecraft because it's alleged the creator of Minecraft isn't a good person. I don't play Minecraft, nor do I know anything about it, nor do I like it that much, so I had my brother, who is a major Minecraft fan, explain this to me, and he already knew the research on hand, so that's all I know. Like I said, this goes for anything. Miku made Coraline, Miku made Harry Potter, or Miku made Rurouni Kenshin. Which, you know, I follow the belief of death of the artist in that whatever the author intended or made doesn't matter because it's art and it's up to the artist to view it and not the person who made it. So, you know, Harry Potter, I have reclaimed it. I made Harry Potter. If someone made a painting of a bowl of fruit, it's up to the viewer to see if that's a commentary on war or capitalism or some shit. You know, that's my take on it. I think it's a pretty hilarious meme anyway. Hatsune Mix. A manga comedy created by Kei, who designed Hatsune Miku, Rin, Len, and Luca. This is categorized as unofficial because Krypton Feature Media had no involvement with it, other than presumably the approval for it to be published by Kei, and, you know, Miku doesn't have a canon personality. Remember that Miku is just an instrument. Sadly, I don't know too much as I don't own this manga, though I have nearly bought it several times when I went bookstores, so no idea why I skipped it, unless, like, a new Black Butler manga or Sakamoto Shinichi manga came out or something. Makane Nana Uttowo. Many will try to tell you that Tetto was the first Uttowo to become a commercial Vocaloid, but this is false. The first was Makane Nana. She was a Uttowo created for the Mac version of Uttowo, who later received a official Vocaloid voice bank specifically to promote the Mac version of Vocaloid 3. She's also designed after a Apple computer. The same goes with her family, who are also Uttowo as well. She also had a tiny clone Kutere version of herself, named Petite Maknae for some reason, but hey, it's Uttowo lore, don't question it. MikuAdverts. Miku has had a lot, and I mean a lot, of advertisement collaborations over the years. From Family Mart, Lux Shampoo, Toyota, Pocky, and how could we possibly forget the infamous and beloved Domino's Pizza ad? There's way more, but honestly, those are the ones I recommend the most seeing because some of them are either adorably quirky or laughably cringe. Project Diva mods. This is referring to mods made for Project Diva, and man, this one goes back, dudes. All the way back to the original Project Diva on the PSP. Of course, if you know me in this channel, you'll know my first instinct was to look for Gakpo when I first learned about modding Project Diva games. For some reason, people used to use Luca for Gakpo. That's weird. Nowadays, people make fucking beautiful Gakupo and other Vocaloid mods. I specifically want to talk about Disneyloid's Gakupo mod because this is my man of my dreams right here. There's also a lot of really other awesome mods besides outfits, costumes, and models though. My favorite are the ones that port songs from Project Diva X and Gumi's rhythm game, which you've probably seen me use in my videos before. If you can mod it, I highly recommend it because modding any game is super fun. Gomenne gomenne. This refers to the controversial song made by Kiko. I say controversial because, you know, this song has extremely heavy themes, and not everyone is okay with a song about that. Or little Timmy found this song because his mom wasn't monitoring what he was watching, but I digress. Quick trigger warning, this song is about extreme child abuse and CSA, told using very, very graphic cannibalism and filth metaphors. The song is about a young girl being essayed by her father. She then meets a boy or brotherly figure who isn't abusive and tries to help her leave her situation, but she doesn't understand and ends up going back to her dad because she feels like she, quote, betrayed him. When she's then further abused by her father, and he brings his friends to abuse her too. The song is Kiko's bread and butter of tackling the damage child abuse does to someone, and has the signature of his accordions and xylophones to give a childlike atmosphere or metaphor. But goes unbelievably hard with the dubstep. Seriously, the instrumentals of this song go unbelievably hard. Like, Kiko made this like rent was due yesterday, and I love it. Some have claimed this makes Kiko problematic, and while I can see that, I have done better research since a very, very dumb thing I posted to find that Kiko writes this from either a very personal place or has largely experienced some level of what he writes. Again, just my opinion, and I highly recommend finding someone who can speak Japanese to ask them to help your research, cause trust and believe, having the Japanese skills of a kindergartner does not help. Song still slaps though. Miku Symphony. Symphonies for popular properties are actually surprisingly popular in Japan. From Kingdom Hearts, Zelda, and even Sailor Moon have all had a symphony orchestra to play songs from their respective series. This includes Miku, who had an orchestra called Miku Symphony. This would either play songs originally written for the orchestra, or songs that slap hard as an orchestra song. My personal favorite on the orchestra was the cover of Hitoshizuku P's Synchronicity series, because it's one of my favorite Vocaloid song series, and man, it sounded beautiful. Honestly, it sounded like an epic Zelda song in that format. It's honestly surprisingly epic. I wish I could go to one of these in person because it looks like just such an elegant and wholesome experience. And that would be it for now. Part 2, if all goes well, because I noticed some things later on I need to research just a little more into, should be next week, and if not, it should be the week after that. What did you guys think of this iceberg? Is there any trivia here you know or not? I was surprised as someone who thought I knew everything about the Vocaloid community, but that just shows that no matter how long you think you know something, there's always room to learn. So let me know down below what you think. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. And if any old or new subs would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with links to all of my social media tabs. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something with some like-minded people, I have a fan server link down below. See you next time!